one day when you're looking for answers, don't look to the president, don't look to Congress, look for yourself. Look where you will find decency and understanding, knowing that if people dressed up themselves as your family members and presented themselves in your house, violated your privacy and took your identity and whatever it is that they could have done to you before they did the final dirt to you, know that they have come under judgment. There's one thing to be said about Venus. The goddess Venus, as it is said, is the goddess not of war, but she thwarts the warrior, not the wounded warrior. She thwarts the out of control warrior, and she sedates him to destruction. Venus is quite deliberate. Venus loves with a passion. So Venus loves children and loves life, but she hates a warrior that does not defend the defenseless. And in that, with Venus, Mars and Jupiter and Saturn all aligned, I do not begin to think that this goddess, the first time something like this happened, Rome was destroyed. It was a massive burning, and no one could consider what was going to happen, what was the revenge for. But from Jesus was born until his death, remember, all those Jewish children died horrible deaths because of Jesus and John the Baptist. That when Jesus finally arrived and came to them, and they finally rejected and crucified him, it was time for a whole renew mapping, a refacing of everything. Remember, at this time, the Israelites were being used as guinea pigs, also by their captors, the Romans. And so therefore, when they killed all those children, they tried to find a way to appease them by giving semi-differentiated kings, the Herodians, and much to their extinction now because of their own anxieties, insecurity, and belligerence for the common sense and common people. John the Baptist sat silently. He tried to offer them a solution. I would be the wife of, or the husband of. My cousin would be free, and I could lead them into a new era of enlightenment. But the king did not see that. The king saw a way to defeat and kill him in his own anxiety, in his own assault, in his own preconceived notions. And once he was beheading, was the beginning of the destruction of that family. And oh my God, what are the likenesses to today's date? I don't know what they are. It's a commentary. You can take it for what it is. My own opinion is my own. My own enlightenment is my own. But my own peace is mine to share. What does that mean to today? We do not know. There are people that label people and fight people, and they do all kind of things. They poison people unconditionally, and they do a lot of things. And if you ever get down on your knees and ask God for divine justice when you're alone, then you will never suffer the humiliation. You may suffer it publicly and in the life of other people and in their authority, but you will never suffer. Like the Herodians, they will disappear like the green grass, and they shall be no more. And I think there is a certain essence of that in America, that it will not go away. there is a certain prophecy in the Pope stepping down, not because he couldn't do his job, but because he refused to acknowledge certain responsibilities and to take it as a leader of a religion. Well, that proves he's human, but it also proves when you're faced with the complexity of being human and being sensible, you couldn't let down the luxury of your institution. And darling, if that's not the failure in the Catholic Church, the failure in America, the failure in the military, the failure in the British public system, the failure in these allies to realize that the terrorists that they supported were their own transplanted people in Syria, people hired from Sri Lanka and Pakistan to fight in Syria. They patriated them there, those family, and used it against Syria. And in that sense, Syria is the enemy. But Turkey supplied the chemical weapons, as they did to the Kurds, as they did to the Kurds of Iraq also. Turkey, the allies. So darling, the trail of lies is not with the common people, but as my thing said, the stupidity starts in polite circles where education and rank are supreme of common, where education and rank are supreme of common influence. And that, my dear, is Alice in Wonderland. Jesus was the first Alice in Wonderland, was he? Who else was Alice in Wonderland? And whose Wonderland? Whose diagnosis? Whose stability? And who is in power? And darling, this century, people predicted the end of the earth, the destruction this year. But if you went back into real time, you would realize this is year 2013 by our calendar, but year 2000 by natural calendar. So Jesus would have been 2000 years old this year. This is me, the Grand Duchess Rasmus Koenen, also known as Ryan Tomlinson. I will never fall to men of adversity, because they steal and kill the soul of other men to enslave, not because they have a plan to enlighten many men, but to hold power and rob hope and compassion from them. So from which they strive in adversity, they strive and they die to stay alive. And what of their children? The orphans of them, to enslave and to make and to persecute the innocents. But such spirit never die. Adversity really lies, and the hope of the spirit triumph again, because the divine is our friend. This is MEZA Grand Duchess Rasmus Koenen, aka Ryan Tomlinson.